If we meet the criteria, we should be participating, because this is what impacts us in the next 5 years, but even the years after. This is critical for us because we have observed that in the previous elections, we have been having less than 50% participation of those who are registered to vote. We would like to contribute to changing this, and we think it's very important. So we started this program. It will be running until the election runs out, and we hope you'll be with us, and we can dissect the issues that are affecting the election. Now, we are already under the period of people campaigning. There are different perspectives about where the campaign is, what the tempo is, what the issues are. One of the issues that has been coming up is whether the manifestos matter at all, whether the expectations and fears that had been expressed at the beginning about the security, the possible violence, the crowds have been of any impact at all. Some of the analysts are saying it has been dull and without so much heat. And I have gathered a group of gentlemen in studio, some of them probably familiar with this matter, but also the audience knows them. On my immediate right is a PhD candidate.
The man is done.
A journalist. I don't know whether he's former or still running as a journalist. And many things in between. Arinaitwe Rugyendo, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, and good evening, viewers. Yes, a journalist, always a journalist. Until you sign out.
Yes. Sign out meaning when you go to meet the creator.
Meet the creator.
Okay.
Yes.
That's a debate we've been having, and a similar debate to the one next to you, James Tweheyo, a teacher who is also debatable whether he's still a teacher. Tweheyo does many other things, including being on the Electoral Commission of the NRM, where he has been arbitrating thousands, maybe hundreds,
yes,
of petitions, and we are going to hear about that a little bit more. You're welcome, Jim.
Good evening, viewers. Good evening, my brothers in the studio. You know, here quite often we are not gender sensitive, but we share things from all perspectives. I'm happy to be with you. Yes. Once a teacher.
Okay. So, the other one is also whether it's a former journalist or not. But Charles Odongtho.
Yes.
Charles Odongtho does many things. We have done many things, but one of the things that we keep doing together is training journalists. Yeah. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm happy to see my brother Rugyendo and our senior Mr. Tweheyo, and I like him when he's using his skills of teaching to, you know, do a lot of sensitization.
When he applies them.
When he applies them. Yes, but Richard, thanks a lot for inviting me here, and I'm glad to be here.
I must also report you to the audience that when you came, out of habit, you sat in my seat because you are used to being the moderator. So I have to keep reminding you that I'm the moderator of this show.
You know, I have been on that seat for, I think, 19 years. So it's only today that I have been put here, and I'm feeling very uncomfortable.
It's unprecedented that you can also be questioned.
So don't be so surprised if I question you in the middle of the discussion.
No, you're very welcome.
I'll forget that I'm supposed to share my views, then I will question you.
There you are. You're very welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for allowing to join us in the evening, a little late. But from each one of you, I would like you to take a minute as an introductory part to tell me your perspectives on so far how the campaigns are going. We'll need to fast.
Thank you very much. I thank you for the question. First of all, as a Ugandan who has really participated in these elections since 1996, that was my first time to vote.
That's how old you are?
Yes, I'm very old. I
Could be one of those who voted before.
I see. No, I was actually 96. I was 19.
You are not underage. Okay.
Yes, I was not underage. I was only underage during the. Somebody stopped me from voting. I wanted to vote actually, 1994 CA elections. Somebody stopped me, but I was determined to go in and see how it feels. But I have seen the successive elections. 96, 2001. 96 was generally excitement. Everybody wanted to really feel the sense of real democracy. You could see excitement all over the place, honestly speaking. Like 2001, then the tempo changed. The tensions were high because I think it was an intra-election. It was NRM versus NRM that time. Reformist agenda. Then you have the Republican, and then you had 2006, which was really tensed up as well, but still an election to watch. Then you had 2011, which was a smooth ride. 2016 was a little bit of a smooth ride. 2021 wasn't. But across the course of our election, of our contemporary electoral history, I think the quality has been improving in a way. I could say quality has been improving despite the hiccups here and there, and that are expected in an emerging democracy. Now, what we are witnessing is, I think for me, is a calm before the storm. I would want to say that because...
Why?
Why? Because you see, we've not yet hit the threshold of election violence that was set by the last election. You remember November 2020? I don't recall the date. That violence and the riots that emerged out of the arrest of Bobi Wine in Luka, and the sporadic violence that broke up on the streets here, and people beating people wearing yellow T-shirts. It was a really bad spectre, and it's something I really don't want to feel will happen. But currently we're seeing that come for the storm, and it is a good, in a sense that it has allowed the different groups that are campaigning to focus on the issues. You really see the issues coming out. It's still early to determine whether we will have really a quality election, but at least that has allowed the different campaigners to focus on the issues, not on insults, not on pettiness.
Tweheyo.
Yes, sir.
Calm before the storm?
Where?
That's what Rugyendo sees.
I can say yes, I'm calm before the storm. I've equally seen it all. From 1994.
Well, when you used to organize a strike every election. But don't comment on that.
No, not then. I participated in managing the elections. I remember when they were doing 89, when they were doing elections for CA. Was it 89 somewhere there?
That was RC.
RC, yes. NRC.
Yes.
I was one of those who were managing, and I remember going to Kazo. I was the one who elected the engineer and assessors at the time, and we were using the lining up. I saw it happen, and it was very calm, and it was very okay. One of the things that led those elections up to around 2000, even when had changed into political parties, was individual meritism. Mm-hmm. Even up to today, by the way, a number of our people still have that feeling of individual merit. That's why you find it surprising that somebody can be a manifested movement person, but the next day is voting so and so who is not movement, who is independent, there is still that element of individual meritism. The second thing I've seen is the challenge of our primary elections. It is still challenging. Incidentally, I am a member of the Electoral Commission
Of the NRM.
of the NRM.
Because they may think you belong to the Bureau.
And I cannot say, yes, of the NRM, and I cannot say we have not done a good job. But sometimes we surprise ourselves. When somebody comes and says, I was cheated in an election where people line up. People line up, 1, 2, like we are here. Anybody can see, even from anyone on TV, that we are how many? We are 4. Now it surprises you when somebody comes with results and says, no, I think in the studio are not 4. Those who are seated there, you were 14. And somebody looks you in the face and says, yes, we were 14. And it's very firm on it. No, we were 14. And you begin, and you know when somebody insists on something that is wrong for a long time, it almost appears as if it is correct. That has been one of the greatest challenges of particularly NRM. Some element of dishonesty within us that has led to a lot of discomfort. It has led to a lot of some protests amongst ourselves, discontents and all of that. But away from that, particularly for this exercise, before that, I participated in the 2001 elections myself.
You stood.
Yes, I was a candidate in Barara. In Barara municipality then, I stood with Winnie Byanyima and the Honorable, at the time, Haji Ngomangime. Participated, campaigned. I almost won that elections. But let me tell you one thing that is most difficult, and I want these people who are campaigning and participating to understand. Elections have about 3 processes. One, if you are a participant, there is the process of nominations and all that, and the canvassing for elections. Nomination is 1, canvassing for elections is 2. And you can make rallies and rallies and rallies. But there is the immediate action of voting and thereafter. That is what I would call voter or vote protection. When you are canvassing for votes, they will tell you, this man Rugyendo can't speak. And he will really go there and speak, and you see everybody saying the man can speak. Even Odongtho, who may not believe with him, will say, agree with him, will say the man can speak. But at the end of the day, when it comes to voting, in the beginning, where did my votes go? Either you were cheated, or you didn't arrange and organize yourself for the voting day. And that's where issues come from. Vote protection. And I want to encourage everybody. The one thing that has always helped the NRM party itself and President Museveni is vote protection. And I'm going to come there. Yes. I just want this setting this to get a sense of where we are. Yes. So we are just as we have gone, you have already seen it from the very onset. People can gather crowds, people can move, but for once there seems to be some bit of harmony, and this harmony is caused by the discipline that I should say our candidates have exhibited. And the moment the candidate is disciplined in a way, then the voters, the followers, are equally disciplined. Quite often, we are the ones who encourage our supporters to either behave or misbehave. So in the meantime, I think our supporters are behaving in a way. They are excited. We need to have the excitement. We need to have the friends in all those rallies and all that. But that excitement can only be directional if the candidate himself or herself is able to tell them, no, let us move like this. If a leader moves in the wrong direction, in a zigzag way, the followers will even crash. So this is, I think, what I have seen for once, that there is that little bit of calmness. We pray it proceeds and continues to the end, because politics is very interesting. Sometimes when somebody feels he needs attention, you either cry or you fight. Charles. Charles, yes. I think you see, partly Tweheyo is an analyst, a teacher, but also very young. So this
behavior of candidates.
This one has no element at all.
It is inside.
No, there's something here.
We also have elements of, Charles, we have elements of provocation that happen to candidates, even when they try to be calm. So far, what is your assessment of the general environment?
Thank you. I think from what I've observed, my assessment of the calm is so far because the candidates are largely campaigning in their territories, from my view. I have attended the campaigns of President Museveni in West Nile this last week. And there is no doubt that that is candidate Museveni's area. He will win it. The question will be by what margins or what differences. When you look at following the media perception, when you look at the candidate following President Museveni, the incumbent candidate Chagulanyi Robert Sentamu, Bobi Wine, he has started in Buganda. He went briefly to Busoga, and he is still within Buganda, the geographical Buganda. Of course, with some areas, Nakasongola, where there are fewer.
As well.
Huh?
And Bukedi as well.
Yes, and the Bukedi as well. Now, apart from Bukedi, and you realize, I think it was in Bukedi where some police came in and all that, tried to restrain him, restrict him. You will discover that there is a lot of excitement. I met them on my way last week when I was traveling to West Nile in Nakasongola. I met them, the supporters of Bobi Wine. They were excited, happy, jubilating on the road, no disturbance. And it was peaceful. The Afrobarometer survey of 2024, last year, noted that there are fears, high fears, that the 2025 elections will be violent. Taking it from the last experience of 2021, I think if you noticed care, if we recall, candidate Chagulanyi had a peaceful election until when I think he reached, it must have been Luuka and this place of the former Secretary General, Justin Lumumba, what's that place called? To Chagulanyi's presence there, and if he generates some support. That is one, apart the issue of the calm and so far the campaigns. I have seen the supporters are very, very passionate. I attended campaigns of candidate Museveni in the last election, and even West Nile was not as passionate as it is now for the candidate Museveni. So I think that this election is different in many ways. I don't know whether it is because candidate Museveni is now really aged, is now an octogenarian, 80 plus. So you begin to think, most likely, even biologically, that he is now reaching the final stages of elections, at least participating in elections actively. So maybe that is the interesting thing and all that. So and of course for Chagulanyi, it is his second go at the ballot, and he has really generated a lot of interest. And then of course other candidates. I have watched candidate Gregory in Western Uganda. He's running a campaign, the type I saw in the US, where you really engage with the people. You are discussing and people are asking you questions, which other candidates have not seen other candidates do. For me, I like it. It's very interesting. How I wish that was a mode. And I saw that I covered the 2008 elections in the US. And that's how they go meeting the voters. You go to a place, you meet them, you make them ask you questions, you respond, you move to another place, you meet students, you meet groups of women, and that kind of thing. So, but he's engaging people and explaining things and saying this is why we need change, this is why we need this to happen. Now, but there is something for me which is interesting in this election. One, that aspect of in both NRM and NOP, the aspect of independence might increase.
I'm going to come to that.
It might increase from what I'm seeing.
I'm going to come
Why?
to that.
Because
before,
my senior here and the team, and funny enough, NOP is even worse.
I know,
they have failed to generate consensus.
I know I'm going to come there because I want to come to this, and you'll come back to it. But we have an electoral commission person. Before I go there, you see, Rugyendo, you are a soccer enthusiast. Now, if you take your predictions from the panel and what is in the it's predicted that President Museveni is going to win the election. If you take the 40 years we have been here.
And of course the advantage of the incumbency.
As a measure.
He has a lot of advantages to his side.
A lot of people argue that many of us, so why be passionate? If you are going to a football pitch and you already know the team that will win, you may be enjoying the tactics, but you will not be engaged as much. So then it becomes a bit boring because it is too predictable. So is this, are they right? Are they do we already kind of know what is going to happen so the stakes are not that high?
I think for me, there are very many factors that would explain that. Number one, I know my big brother here will not believe this, but generally, if we were to be honest to ourselves as a country and maybe as NRM supporters, there's a general fatigue towards candidate Museveni. Not because really he's not done much for the country. There's something to see for everybody, even for the uninitiated. Museveni has done something. But is that feeling, especially among young people, that to choose the war, to choose the war, and it's just the talk everywhere you go, even for the sake of it, which is in a way is good or bad. Good because then maybe people feel a change may not necessarily really cause problems. It means probably we have matured democratically. As a democracy, we've matured that we can afford to forego somebody who has done so much for the country and really put in a lot of effort to ensure that we reach a level of stability. But also bad in the sense that, we seem to just be in the frenzy, like a soccer frenzy, like you're saying. And that can be dangerous. But, that's one reason, the fatigue. But then the other one is you have a group of people who believe that normally the NRM usually has a starting point, what we call embonekerezo. Like it is a mass party that has got structures everywhere. This is a fact, and this is the advantage that the NRM has over the rest of the other parties. If you look at some of them did not even hold primary elections. They didn't. So you cannot tell whether they have the structures on the ground or not. You cannot tell whether even within the LC structures we actually have even opposition people. In some places they hardly have even any candidates. So NRM has that advantage because it is everywhere, and in every village, 72,000 of them, the NRM has a structure of about 50-something people. So
63.
Thank you. So they have that. They have that assurance that with or without making noise, what we need to do is to propagate a program that is issue-based, that actually gives hope to people, that means business, and that we are actually ready really to take on the mantle for another 5 years. And that comfort that explains what I'm seeing right now. However, there is the skepticism. People who are on the fence, people who are what they call at the NRM, they call these people, what are they? That's the word. They're not undecided, but
those who never voted.
Who never vote, actually. I'm forgetting the actual word, but they are there. Those, whether Museveni is on the ballot or not, they just don't want to vote. They are doing their own things, and that factor is also something that you can use to explain the current situation. However, that is not guaranteed that things will turn out the way NRM supporters expect. Why? Because there are clear-cut issues that are cross-cutting, and these issues are affecting everyone in their own right, whether they are not or not. Because if you're talking about the problem of medicines in hospitals, bad roads, corruption, which is glaring in people's eyes, if you look at what is happening really, you just want to think that whether we have a caring government or not, and these are critical issues that probably are keeping people, apathetic to the process, because they know whether they make noise or not, nothing will happen, and they don't see a serious promise on the part of government, on the part of the NRM, on the part of candidate Museveni to tackle this problem, because the problem seems to be intrinsic, largely intrinsic, and we reach the level where certain characters cannot be questioned, people cannot be tried, you cannot see serious results about really tackling corruption. That is what is affecting people. Issues like jobs, yes, we have factories, yes, there's some work that has been done, yes, oil is coming and probably is going to be invested in strategic areas that create jobs for young people. You have a huge population of young people who are above 50. I'll be 49 end of this year. But people who are above 50 really constitute about 6% of this country. The largest percentage of Ugandans, about 78%, are young people who are actually going to vote and who have no history about what has happened, who have nothing to say, who have nothing to worry about. To think things just go, you can change and things happen. Mm-hmm. So you have that problem, which probably maybe our candidates, our people need to focus on. But then the last problem, the last really big point I would make there to answer your question, is the difference between voter education and civic education. These two concepts are glaring in this election. Are people civically competent?
Glaring, absent or glaring?
Yes, glaring, absent, yes.
Okay.
People don't seem to be civically aware about the importance of participating in an election. And those who are aware and want to participate in this election, are they in this election really because they want to vote, or because there's something in it for them, or this is an opportunity to make some money, or this is an opportunity to make a deal? And also, even if it wasn't the case, do they know what to do? They understand that, like for example, a symbol of a bus means this. They understand what a protection that is going to talk about. What protection is? What protection? Violence? What is being vigilant? These I think have not been there in my view, and we might be that could also explain this kind of situation that we are in, where you can't be sure whether it is just an enormous calmness or people are just not bothered. But where has been the civic education? Where has it taken place all this time?
Okay, so we seem to coalesce around the fact that there is apathy.
Yes.
But it's not the first one where it's apathetic, at least if you look at the results of the people who come out to vote. At least the statistics tell us that they don't, that many of us don't. But Tweheyo, there have been some arguments that you set a precedent that your primary was so violent that people have chickened out. They are like, if these guys are so violent internally, what violence will they unleash when they are competing with external forces. So it is safer to just keep away from this. Do you share that sentiment?
It is true there was some level of violence, but it was at a certain point where there was a feeling always that yes, in this area, if I get a flag, then I'm good to go. So the elections of the primaries were in most cases a do or die. If I come from Rwampara, where this man comes from, if I have a flag, then the area is predominantly NRM, and certainly they'll vote me through. The same party that has led me through will take me through the general elections. So what I see that was partly the cause of that violence was the desperation that if I finish this, then I'm good to go. The second element that brought in some level of violence was the element of feeling that there could be some dishonesty along the way. But the third level also was by those who saw themselves not passing through. Because, you know, we used the voting of lining up, and when somebody saw that if they line up, if I give them a chance to line up, they are going to declare a winner, and the winner will be seen and openly so. So the issue was that somebody would say, if I disorganize, then perhaps I would have a chance to go back and reorganize and come and get the process done. And that one facilitated partly the violence. But away from that, I think the country still was generally peaceful, and that violence was just in small spots. That is why, by the way, when the people talk about the petitions that came up, and we said we had about 400 petitions, at one point, the previous year, we had about 1,000 something petitions. And even where the tribunal said, go and repeat, and we repeated those elections, apart from one, the rest of the repeated elections, about 12 of them, came out the same results. Meaning that the elections that were internal could have generated a certain element of feeling that yes, when somebody wins, he wins genuinely. That was one. Number two, when it comes now to that element of voter apathy, incidentally, the biggest culprit of voter apathy are the elites. The Bagumas, the Odongthos, the Tweheyos who are in Kampala. He registered in his village. When it comes to the time for election, he says, but why should I drive my car and go and waste my 500,000 on going to vote? Let them vote. And that one is very common, especially in the elites. Let anybody say no, but that is the truth from research even. Now, who are those who have been actively involved in voting? They are the young ones. Recently, I was talking to some young boys and girls, university people, by the way. And I asked them a question. I said, but you are young men. You are at university. Some third year, some. I said, okay, tell me. How many of you have personally met the Vice Chancellor and discussed with him? Say, we don't need that one. And I said, that one now determines who you are or you will be. And the insights people should look at. And I said, look at this man Museveni here. This Museveni man was born in Chamate, Nintunga Modea, Ruhama. Comes to Chamate Primary, comes to Junior, comes to Ntale, and by God's grace he goes to Dar es Salaam. And this man, from the village by the way, is able to go and link up with the president of another country and a chancellor of a university where he was, and he's able even to convince him, we should, you should let us go and train somewhere in Mozambique. I said, don't you see some little value at his age? He was a university student. You were university students. None of you has ever had a chance of meeting the chancellor and discussing with him or her. Even on the discussion of saying, can we change this curriculum? So don't you think this man has value? And the boy stood up and said, by the way, I think we should let this man pass around and give it to him as a gift. You get that?
So now, that one will not go to vote.
No. That one may not go to vote, but that also brings me to what he was talking about, voter education and civic education. Once you look at the values of an individual, you may have been looking at an individual and you didn't care about the values. But once you look at the values of an individual, that's when you can take a good decision. And therefore, we need to put attention to voter education, voter training, voter civic education, and make sure that our people are really educated about the elections, about the need, and even away from that. How many of us got a rally to get the facts of the manifesto somebody's bringing?
No, we discussed that last week. First of all, we had somebody who has been accredited at the Electoral Commission to be a voter educator.
Yes.
The Electoral Commission just did that about a week or two ago. To just accredit people. Because you see, you don't go before you are accredited.
Absolutely.
So the ones who applied were not allowed until about 2 weeks ago. When the process, and you see, the process of election starts much earlier.
Absolutely.
So why do we have institutions that will not be allowing people to go? What is the problem? The civic education is for the Human Rights Commission.
Yes.
The Human Rights Commission, at every meeting it goes to Parliament for its budget, it says the money for civic education is the one that's taken out first. It is the unfunded thing.
Unfunded priority.
So how is it going to happen? And you see, the majority of members of Parliament and the people in the government who do that are NRM, so they are not interested
Civic education.
in civic education or even voter education. I mean, that's a conclusion one can make. So I think we need to, even the leaders, to be educated to prioritize civic education. And you see, this thing about elections and what, Odongtho is what you were talking about. The question of independence. We have, if independents were a party, they are the second largest party in Parliament.
Yes, that's true.
That's correct.
Yeah, the second largest number of members of Parliament is independents. We have a likelihood that we shall have even higher numbers out of this election. So, Charles, is there something wrong with our internal elections? Because it is not just the NRM, it was the NUP, which was probably a selection. And that's their method of democracy. And these others. So do we have, is there something wrong inherently with our election processes?
I don't want to think that there is something inherently wrong. I want to think that we lack the value of honesty.
But why? Why are we a dishonest people?
I think it is, first of all, democracy in itself. Let's first agree, okay? I think that democracy, first of all, is the way it is given to us is a Western or alien concept to us. Because I think we are more used to, making a decision or making a directive and then passing it on to your subjects, call it that.
The big man syndrome.
And yes, and then they follow. But here we have a situation where, imagine you are a president of the country and you...
I would love to be, by the way.
Yeah, and then you have, guidelines which you are supposed to be the guarantor of, but which is supposed to also regulate you. You understand? That's one. But two, in that ecosystem of something called democracy, you find we want to choose, or you have said select, but also we don't want to be, we don't want to be checked. For example, and this has happened, Bobi Wine may want to have Luyirika stand in Kampala. But there is, what's the incumbent? No, the lady for Kampala women.
Malende?
Malende. You will find Honorable Malende is perhaps more popular. But Bobi Wine would want to have someone else. The only recourse they now will go back to is to use their processes, the internal processes, and maybe the president is the one choosing who the Electoral Commission chairperson is, or something near that, or even the team of Honorable Tweheyo. The team will have been appointed by President Museveni, and therefore, you know, like he did for, the Electoral Commission had to do for the youth, and I had the youth, the NRM youth, were crying foul, that in Kololo, actually, our girl won, the Muchiga girl. But when the election was redone, my brother from Tororo won, Tanga. You see, so that kind of thing. So the issue is, can we practice honesty and accountability to the extent that it produces a certain level of fairness? I think that is where the problem is. I think that the problem is not an inherent challenge with the or deficit with the democracy that we practice. Now, so in the end, we are going to be seeing many independents, and all these independents, I don't know if it is Mr. Tweheyo who said it, we are, in my view, the independents we are going to have this time might even hit 100. They may reach 100, second to the party that will win. Most, of course, it will be NRM that will bring the biggest number of MPs to parliament, and then parties followed by most likely NOP, maybe followed by UPC. But I can bet, from what I have already seen across these elections, going into these elections, we are going to have many independents. The number will swell, and they will be bigger in number than the second party numerical group. And that is not very good for our democracy. I think we have to be honest, we have to be transparent, we have to practice. As they say, we have to drink water. When we are when we are preaching water.
Let's take some water now as we go for a break, because we have water here. In case you have just joined us, it's the Ballot 2026. The Ballot 2026 is the new program that we are talking about. The ballot, we are talking about the election, a very critical exercise that is coming up that affects the way we live our lives, because we hand over leadership, we hand over the matters of this nation and our own matters over to a group of people who are going to lead us in 5 years and consequentially for the next years. So we are dissecting the issues now, and we are going for a short break. Don't go away. And when we come back, we continue to check the pulse of the election so far, but also the issues that underpin the participation, the interest or lack of it. So don't go away. Thank you. Oh yeah, welcome back, and thank you for staying with us. Welcome back from that break. It's the Ballot 2026, the election show that will be coming your way from Family TV every Wednesday from 9 p.m. In studio, I have Arinaitwe Rugyendo, I have James Tweheyo, and Charles Odongtho to talk about the issues, to check the pulse, where the things are. Now, Rugyendo, I've just got feedback on the platform of the Family TV that you are all psychophants.
Of what?
Talking about the same candidate.
If somebody dominates you for 40 years, how can you not talk about him?
So even the conversation remains no change
No,
for 40 years.
we really have 8 candidates, and each of them appeals to the population, to the voters, a different way. You can even look at the branding. You can. It is really, when this man puts on a hat, the other one maybe has to put a line here, then another one has to, another one has to carry his rusania all through, and all these candidates must make their own forms of appeal. So each of the candidates has something to bring on table. By the way, we should not ignore that. Everybody is making a point. Yes.
Really?
Yes.
And this is something that I have had a couple of people talk about, even read in the media and social media, that even if you took a group of leaders from one candidate's campaign team and you ask them what is in the manifesto, like on water, or they don't know.
Yes, indeed. Because but I've seen Ugandans don't read. They just wait for the people to speak to them, the leaders to propagate what they are giving out, or what hope they are projecting for the country. So mainly we are just a listening audience usually. That's what explains that. So the leaders have the duty to really go deep and explain the issues and even summarize them. And I think the media, probably New Vision, is what I've seen that they've been trying to simplify and break down the different manifestos for the people to understand.
But you can imagine the readership.
But you can't rarely follow these things. They just want to hear what somebody's saying, and that's it. Or who is giving them something, and that's it. And then sometimes Ugandans tend to behave in a way that is fatalistic. They feel like this is a fait accompli. President Museveni will win, and that's it. So why do we waste time trying to analyze whose platform it is when we actually know? And I think there's a group where I belong with Charles. This is where I think I made a comment recently. I think the president was, the day he was nominated, yes, the day he was nominated in Law, right, is it? Yes, he was saying, he was talking about things of next year. Like actually he has already won already, and so he's already talking about programs for 2026, 2027. We shall be bringing the oil here, and all these problems. This place will be tarmac. In other words, it's like really gone. It's just it's a concluded thing, and not because really that's what it is, but the feeling generally is that. That the NRM has taken this, and you can see it for yourself, and partly because also there's this feeling that maybe this is the last time. Ugandans tend to say, "Kare katukuwe," because I think even age is catching up with you. So probably this is the last moment, and either way, it is his election to win. Actually, for me, he's into this. It is his election to win. When you look at red or no, I feel like the leaders are detached from the enthusiasm that the electorate is demonstrating. The people who are supporting NUP, the NUP supporters, are very enthusiastic. They are very ecstatic. They feel like this is their moment. But the leaders seem to be lukewarm. They're not really pushing. They're not propagating. They're not giving the hope that actually this is the moment. This is different from last election. Last election, I think, NUP really was a surprise attack. Nobody was prepared for them. And I think this time the NRM looks more prepared to really engage them this time. That last time I think it was a surprise attack on NRM. They couldn't believe that Bobby would pull that kind of crowd. They were not prepared. They hardly had no strategy to really contain Noop. It was not there, frankly speaking, because at least I was very observant. I would know what was going on. But right now, with that experience, I think Tweheyo and the group seem to be very prepared. They are willing to really get down. They seem to be willing to be remorseful where it is necessary. Say, yes, this has gone wrong, but look, oil is about to come here. The nuclear plant in eastern Uganda is going to push megawatts to about 8,000 of them. So there's things that you really can't negate. Factories with children there working, with a lot of work going on.
You are now sounding like a campaign agent.
No, I'm not a campaign agent.
So be very, very careful.
I am just trying to see the situation.
Charles, since this man has been campaigning, I will first come to you before I come to Tweheyo to reinforce the campaigns. You see, you are a lawyer too, apart from being a journalist. Yeah. Court has declared more than once the impropriety of the NRM in the election.
Yeah.
And, even when that court is appointed, it has had the shame. At least it has said it is so much we have to talk about it and accept that it has happened. And we have seen the quarrels in the primary. Now, the apathy, this knowledge that even when we work so hard, with even court agreeing that there is malpractice, and it always brings a certain result anyway. So why do we keep repeating when we know what is going to happen? And combine that, Charles, with the current level of sacks, that even the leader of the party can carry money in a sack and give it to a group of youth openly. With TV. So it's not just the popularity, it's also the malpractice.
I think what is not in dispute is that NRM and many of its members have bad manners in elections. That cannot be disputed, and the election petitions have indicted the party and the candidates for that in the different petitions over the years. We have had a number of them, I think 4 now, if I'm not mistaken. 201, 206, I think 211, they missed 216, there was one then last year, which was withdrawn. But you could see, it was palpable to see that there were problems with it. Why do they continue? I think it is more about different actors doing the same things at different times. It's just a matter of actors changing, but the major part of it is that when court gives orders and we don't follow them, I think that is why such bad manners are continuously perpetrated and they are repeated. Because if the bad manners of some actors within the ruling party cannot be punished, then there is no reason not if you always benefit from illegalities, then others will join in, and that's how impunity comes about. And there is no way we can excuse NRM for that. The issue of the money is it's like corruption. It's very hard to even waste time discussing them, because it's like we cannot help it as a country. But the question is, can't we? I think what we saw, the open distribution of money in the primaries, even at the National Delegates Conference in Kololo, it was open to the extent that our friends, political actors in the NRM, were now saying, were now boasting of who distributed money most. You understand? It is that bad. I know that in some quarters, my sources tell me there are a lot of investigations, including some by His Excellency the President himself, because he is shocked. How did large amounts of money enter the conference? When, to make it worse, my security are in charge of security. My security apparatus is in charge. They have to check every vehicle that enters. So who are these who entered with large amounts of money? One, people tell you someone enters with money like 2 billion shillings in a vehicle. Another one enters with 3 billion shillings. Then another one is in a hotel nearby where there are 2.5 billion shillings for distribution. And several candidates, almost all of them. Then you hear stories of how this candidate from Central went to the camp of the delegates from West Nile in Chireka, went to the camp of the delegates from Chigezi, and was distributing 300,000 shillings to every delegate. Money was flowing. Some friend of mine from Kanungu, from actually Kinkizi East, found me with another friend. We were having tea and having a discussion. And then he said, "Hey, Charles, you're here." I said, "Yeah," at around 10 p.m. of one of those delegates conference days. And then I said, "Hey, welcome back. How was today's conference?" He said, "Man, what are you taking?" And then he says, you need to also partake of these candidates, and he mentions a prominent candidate.
So you were a beneficiary?
Oh yes, by other means. I agree. And then I said, you have money to pay for my tea? Me, I'm not very expensive. Then my colleague said, me, I've just finished my chicken with chips, and Charles is just taking tea. That Charles, take something better. And he said he removed an envelope. And to make it, the joke was very interesting. He gets out the envelope and he says, I had not even counted it, but let me first count. If it is the same amount, it was 300,000, 10,000 denomination. So we are joking about this thing, but I am afraid we have reached a point where something drastic, something, can we say, revolutionary, has to be done about the use of, the wanton use of money in elections. Because it's now rented popularity. It is rented love. And, you know, and one bad action or moment of it, level, begets another one. So in order for you to maintain that kind of standard, you now need to make sure that next time you do worse, or you add more money. If you have used 1.2 billion this time, next time you have to use 1.5. Where are you going to get the money from? People were asking, where are the delegates of SEC getting the money to pump the billions, to pump in this election? For SEC, he knows he was in SEC. SEC is voluntary. There is no salary.
But he's here. He can tell us if people are spending.
So maybe Mr. Tweheyo, tell us, how do you recoup? How do you make money from SEC?
It was a very interesting scenario. And it is when I realized one old man saying that in a family of a big man, there are all kinds of people to dance every tune that comes in. And really, our party has all those kinds of people. It has the good, it has the bad, it has even the ugly. I have been in SEC for the last year, almost 8 to close to 10 years. I was there.
So we are seated with a billionaire.
Elected member. When fortunately for me, I had been there and opposed. Because the people represented were the workers, and I think they saw value in me and said, okay, go and represent us, raise issues of the workers, which I tried to raise. Now, I even asked myself, really, you go and sit in the SEC meeting, you get an allowance, yes, you get some fuel to go home, about 1 million in a sitting. We sit once every 2 months. Officially, that's what it's supposed, but sometimes can even go beyond that. Now it means literally at the end of the whole year,
12 million.
No, once every 2 months.
Yes.
So it's 6 million.
6 million.
Yes, oh yes.
That is
And
if you sit as agreed.
Yes, that is if you attend. Now, you are going there for 5 years. You are expected to earn in total about 30 million.
In 5 years.
But that 30 million is not an earning. It is actually a refund, a replenishment, because somebody is coming from Kanungu, is driving his car to come to Kampala, sleeps in Kampala, and you know. So I asked myself, why are these for spending this much? And to be honest, I want to look in the camera and tell you the truth. I made a quick discovery, which we shared with our president and chairman. You know, when I consulted somebody, said, but you are spending this money, really? Where are you going to get this money from? Me, I've been there for 5 years. He says, for you are foolish, you don't know. I said, what is it that I don't know? He said, you know, if I come with an investor and take him to the president, and the president says, no, there's no problem, you go and invest. And the investor has $100 million to invest. And I just get 2% from him. That's how much. Just
So it's a commercial
you get that?
undertaking.
I said, but how will you convince the president that is happening? He said, I don't need to convince the president. I just need to go there, whisper to the president. Even if I whisper him nonsense, tell him, Your Excellency, I'm around. I had those people around. It's okay, let them go and meet maybe Minister of Finance or what. And at the end of the day, I come and tell them I'm the one who clicked the deal. Even behind the knowledge of the president. That is how, and even the president made a discovery, that's how some people have been trading the name or the person of the president for sort of commissions and crookism, I should say. So he says, that is all. I need only one investor. I'll be moving around, I get an investor. I said, oh, so this is what is happening to our country, to our party. And you know, they had a feeling that once you are in SEC, you are certainly close to the president. It is true, because SEC has few people. About 25 people sitting on a table, you can have an engagement. Unlike cabinet, where somebody is there, you are 80 or you are even more than 80 because you go with the technical team, you are 150, and you don't have any opportunity to hide behind something, hide behind the curtain, and try to make dishonest money. So I thought partly that was part of the dishonest engagement and the cause of money. That's my discovery, and that's the truth. And as a party, we need to fall back and say, look, you people, this is terrible, this is portraying the bad image, and we must admit and even apologize to the whole country for such a mess. It was bad. You know me, I am in the electoral commission, and certainly I couldn't have access to that money. Nobody would come to me and say, we are giving this money. So they were trying to woo the voters, and you can't spend 1 billion. When you are going to earn 300,000, not earn, but to get, it is not even an earning. It is just transport refund, fuel refund. General Chaligonza used to move from Kigali, not from Burundi, to come for a meeting. And he would put in his own fuel. You get that? Sam Ngora would come from Northern and come and put in that fuel and go. So it is something terrible. It is something we must examine as a party and get things done right. On that, I must admit, we got it wrong.
Jim,
do you know, just for a calculation, that when they said 300,000 which I saw with my own eyes, the delegates were 23,000.
Yes.
When you calculate 300,000 times 23 delegates, it is 6.9 billion shillings. That was among the.
That was the lowest.
That was the
There are those who are
lowest.
paying
There are people who
500.
are giving 1 million.
No,
But
in the
the
youth,
regi-
But
in the
someone
youth election,
gave
somebody was
three.
paying 1.5 million into the youth. The youth elections.
The youth are few. The youth are few.
Somebody was
But
paying
just
1.5.
imagine
No,
but
someone is giving all the delegates.
But these are young people. You are talking about young people.
300,000.
A youth takes delegates, 150 or
To a
so,
hotel.
and puts them in a hotel for a week. And every day there is entertainment. So as a youth leader, how are you going to recoup
There's somebody,
And where did that youth get the money from?
that kind of money?
there's
If
some-
anything, quite a number of those youth didn't have jobs.
there is somebody who took delegates out of the country.
Anyway, yeah.
So, in summary, we are talking about our leaders starting from being suspects of criminality. That if you were supposed to start, you were supposed to start from asking, where did you get the
For me,
money
the best way
from?
to explain it.
No, but okay, as you explained it, you also propose. I don't want us to go without proposing.
Obviously.
So what do we do?
Let me first explain it.
Yes.
You see, along the way, me, I belong to a wing in the NRM, which is reformist. We are trying to get back, to have conversations about.
So you belong to.
You sound
you
Besigye.
belong. Yes, exactly. He sounds Besigye.
Absolutely. Yes, that's
The Monty and
that's perfect.
The reformist
The
group.
conversations that we have in our groups, in our WhatsApp groups, are aimed at trying to think about how to get back to the NRA basics of doing things. Because that's where the perfect movement was, where people looked at politics as a service, not even just as a job, but not even just as a business. And that's the problem, because when we lost the movement ideology, the NRA spirit, and became a commercial entity. That is what it is now. So you're now dealing with clients, not just supporters, but clients. Leaders are looking at voters as clients trading in a commodity, which is just a ballot.
To vote.
You get it, and that is what explains all that. I'm not surprised at what my brother has just said, what he discovered, because for me that's what I felt. You see, most of the investors that are coming here are Chinese, and the Chinese culture is that the Politburo of the Chinese Communist Party is like the
Baguma's shirt is now turning towards yellow, so Baguma's shirt is now turning towards yellow, so from orange now to yellow.
So I think our people have mastered that, and now they know that if you're speaking to Chinese whose English is very poor, they will know you reach the president, and that's what they want to feel. They will take a picture with you, and that's it, and the investment is in your pocket. I think and that's very dangerous for me. And so it is because we lost that orientation that really took us to the bush, come back out of the bush, and people served diligently with one heart, with the country at heart, and that's it. But now, because it became clear along the way that, you see, Lee Kuan Yew used to talk about tone. What is the top leadership stone? What if you exhibit profligacy, if you exhibit wastefulness in the way you do things, you've so many cars, you're just a simple speaker, but your convoy is and they're changing cars all the time. MPs are changing cars all the time, because going to parliament means a vehicle, means some money to buy a house, means 40-60 million shillings. If you sit on lucrative committees, you can easily earn 100 million shillings almost a month if you're an MP that's shrewd. So people no longer look at representation as a function of servant leadership, no, but as a function of commercialization, as a function of a job, because it's just a job, it's not a service. And so, but what do we do? Well, that's a very good question I asked. For me, if I were the president, that SEC thing really, should be appointed. Because NRM follows some of these revolutionary parties, is aligned with some of these, like the CPC. You just appoint. In the CPC, for example, that's the world's number 2 economy. If it's not number 1, by the way, is that if you are a representative of the people, you only attend for 3 weeks in a year. You attend the equivalent of parliament for 3 weeks. Deliberate, have proposals to the Politburo, you go back and do your own things. Go back, if you're a professor, go back and teach. There's no earning. Why are you earning? For what? The country must move forward. This is not what we have in here. And maybe, I don't know whether it's because of lack of jobs, so that politics has become the other employer. So the solution is, let's appoint. Number 2, the other solution would be make politics less lucrative, so that it attracts people who want to serve the country. Why should a name be really A-level certificate, really, and 100 million shillings, just sitting in a chamber and keep quiet, really? And a scientist at Makerere University has discovered something, has innovated something, and cannot get even support, just single support, 30 million. I interact with some of these people very, very much, because that's what I am into now. And you see lots of frustration. There is this talk about elite not getting bothered anymore, not voting, not even supportive of the government. It is largely because of this frustration. That for you choose to buy a vehicle worth 500 million shillings to somebody who has just emerged from some village and he's calling himself a chief or a king of something, just 500 million. But scientists really struggling with solutions, pathogenic solutions, cannot get any support. So why should anybody take you seriously? That you are actually, bent on running the country on policy implementation, on scientific, empirical evidence, empirical data. This is discouraged in some of these offices. They call us theoretical. I've now joined academia, so that's what they call us. So there's that mismatch. You have a policy brief, somebody just, those are your things. For us, this is how we do our things.
Yeah, but that's how things are happening. That's the truth. But going
but the
forward,
solution I've told you is simple. If I was in that chair, Mr. President, if you're watching me, if I was in his chair, for me, I would make politics less lucrative. You earn in 1 million, that's enough. If you don't think it is enough for you, then don't come here.
But you would end up not being there.
But you see,
there are some people who would put you there.
Exactly. This is what I was going to come to.
Yes.
That you see, if you want to have your cake and eat it, it's problematic.
Yes.
You want to go there because people have elected you.
Yes.
And when you reach there, you determine the law under which you are paid. Those are the rules. And it's democratic.
And
so
the people who would have changed the rules are the beneficiaries of the rules. Yeah. And will certainly not change them.
They will not change them.
So going forward, therefore, what do we do? How do we make it possible that we will not have a minimum of 6.9 billion
in our electoral system
to get to an electoral office?
6.9 billion can build a technical institute.
Yes.
6.9 billion can build a part of Chirudo Hospital, or maybe the whole of Chirudo without. And it's a very unfortunate incident that we can go to that level. And we must admit it is a problem. Secondly, as I said, it looks, somebody mentioned that where sense stops, that's where politics begins. Because that is why somebody can go and play Katemba and be the winner. I used to have my old friend, this late, this man who died from the Kawempe man.
Okay.
Mr. Apodet. May his soul rest in peace. He used to be my friend. Because we would meet sometimes on TV, top TV, would meet around, would visit. There is a place in Wandegaya, Nambiru is a place. There is a woman who cooks very well. By the way,
yes.
Nambiru would have lunch, would share. And he earned his fame by being a media caller, for his TV. Hello, yes. Now, me, I'm here. I am called so and so. My president is Chaguranyi. And he earned himself a vote. And unfortunately, he didn't live to enjoy his life in Parliament. So politics in this country particularly is no longer a matter of sense. Even the technical personnel who would be advising the politicians are so intimidated that they fear to tell the politicians the truth that this is what it should be and be directional. And this is something that must be controlled now. A permanent secretary will make a budget draft, take it to the minister, and the minister will say, hey, have you put in my fuel? Because I must now be able to visit my constituency. I must be able, when they invite me as a chief guest, I must be able to attend churches and make donations. And when the PS says, no, you are not supposed to give donations. If you are to donate, you are supposed to use your own funds to donate. Then he will vie for the PS to move away, or under secretary. And so the right persons have been so intimidated that accounts even for why a number of our people no longer vote. Say, well, why? If I go to vote and the other one sees me that I voted, or if I go to vote, I go there just to make a show and nothing more. And that is why even now the population, especially the voters, have reached that level of not going to the rally to listen to the manifesto. That is why they say, okay, now what has helped the President Museveni is one, his consistency. You know, overstaying is seen as a problem in some cases, but it gives him a leverage. Why? Because he has been consistent. And when he says we're going to do, he has reached a level where he cannot tell anybody a lie. He will tell them the truth that yes, we have put this road in the budget for 3 times, but we didn't have the money. But you can see so far, we have now done the road from, let's say, Lira, going towards the ferry. And now we shall work on the bridge at the ferry. So anybody who sees that can agree and say, okay, much as it has taken long, it will work. Now, some of the opposition politicians have had a big challenge. That is why when an opposition politician comes the first time, he is so appealing. But when he comes the second time, what he used to say is no longer holding water. For example, our senior brother, Colonel Dr. Shiza Besije, used to go to Munyoro and say, you know, anybody from Munyoro, when you are coming to Kampala, you can easily be identified by dust. So when you see anybody whose body is full of dust, you know that one comes from Munyoro. Now you cannot go to Munyoro and tell them you can be identified by dust. Because the roads are
the best in the country.
But what do we
so
do?
far
You
the
see, because this is the
I'm coming to that.
Yes.
I'm coming to
We
that.
construct the roads. What do we do?
And by the way, this time I like the way our candidates have structured their campaigns. President Museveni many have been saying that he is structuring his campaign to talk about issues right from 86. We'll tell you, in 1986 we had roads 2,000 kilometers, and now we have 6,000 kilometers. And he moves it that way. He prefers it that way to show his consistency. Now, my young brother, the Honorable Chairperson, says, talks about the issues that touch people now. And I like him for that, because it makes him also appeal to the people who are affected by the issues of the day.
Absolutely.
You will tell them you are hungry. Yes. Me, I will provide food. My Rusania brother also says, me, I need to get to Rusania and we share.
That's the immediate problem.
Because if you find you're hungry, you didn't have lunch, you'll have to come to Israel and you share the Rusania. So he's telling them, look, we have hospitals, but they don't have drugs. Look, we have schools, but they're not running well. Look, we have some of the roads which are not done. Me, when I come, I'll get them done. And we will show them reality. The road from here to here is not done, and therefore me, I will do it. Of course, somebody who is living along that road will say, okay, I want my road
done.
And rightly so. But 5 years later, when the road is done, what will you say to appeal to this very same voter? You get the whole issue.
Yeah, but there will be issues.
If you are saying you don't have jobs,
issues. And also,
and the President Museveni is saying, now I want you to create your own job, because the 400,000 jobs in civil service cannot satisfy the population of 50 million people. At the time when we had so many jobs in the public service, which are still the same structured jobs, we had a population of 20 million. Now, how do we cater for this? We have either to make sure that you create your own jobs. How? Get your own earnings somehow by getting this to start off, and you move on. If you can't, then there is an investor who has brought a factory. By the way, some of you who don't move around, you need to visit this Ginger Road from Nambole up to Mukono in the evening or early in the morning.
Malala, actually.
People, that place called Mbarara, you can't believe what is happening there.
But the way people walk from 5 a.m.
Yes, but some people don't go there.
So if you visit the airport,
yes,
you have 5 flights full of people also going.
That's very true. So it is the growth.
Yeah.
It is the growth of the country.
Yes.
But also is not growing at the same rate as income is growing. The income may be coming up and people are seeing a lot of money. And the only challenge you can see is the attrition. The money is coming in but falling through the basket to go to some other things that would have been maybe seen as non-priorities. And this is what we should work on. And that's what the President is promising. He says, now, yes, I've been saying we should fight corruption, but now it is a certain level where you must either fight it completely or reduce it to a certain level to be able to get things done right. So as long as we don't act on those issues, in the meantime, they remain issues. And it gives a chance to our members of opposition to raise pertinent issues that are seen by the local person as issues that affect them on a daily basis. And that is what is causing us now some challenges, particularly as a party, to make sure that we grab the highest. And it takes a lot of trouble to explain.
Oh yeah, so Charles.
Yes.
You see, the easiest part is to point out the challenges, the existing challenges. The harder part is to discuss where do we go next. We keep every 5 years we talk about the same things: unemployment, corruption. You know, I mean, where do we go next? What do we do?
Implement the policies you propose. Our biggest problem as a country is that we have very good ideas. We talk a lot. And you know, the English are wise. They say talk is cheap. We think well. I think we are very thoughtful. We are very innovative. We have a lot of initiative. We have all these things of benchmarking. But some of the best policies in management, in policy formulation, local government, for example, countries, I've met friends, when I traveled outside or they came here, friends from Ghana, friends from Zambia, friends from Botswana, Malawi, they come here to copy our policies. But of course, you know, the most common one which is talked about is that Rwanda, our neighbor, that they just get ours and they implement and they are running fast. Now, I listened to, I have got today, I think today or last evening, they have shared, someone has been kind and shared with me about 5 manifestos. Now I need to make time and read the manifesto of Gregory General, the manifesto of NOPE yesterday came out, I think. I have seen the manifesto of FDC. I had got the manifesto. I attended the manifesto launch of NRM and I got it. I have read through it. And the president was kind to the rally that I attended, the rally in Nebi, in my place in Nebi. He summarized I think, the major 9 points of the manifesto of NRM in 3 points. He talked about socio-economic development. He talked about security, peace and security, a major pillar or panacea of development and transformation. Then he talked about wealth creation. And I mean, you don't need to be an NRM person to see that this is a brilliantly worked document as a policy proposal. The big question is, and that is the question that Honorable Tweheyo and the group should take to him, because you know, some of those feedback from the campaigns do not get to the candidate. I was listening to my people of, say, Nebi Zombo. They were saying that you have promised these same things in 1997.
Yes.
You promised them when you came back in 2001. You promised them in 2006. Here we are, with roads that cannot be accessed, with places which are, you know, places which are baskets of food baskets of Uganda, which cannot be accessed.
They are rotting.
You understand? So the issue, and you are talking about PDM, and you're talking about need to access markets. You're talking, if people have to become wealthy, to get transformed, to get money into their pockets, brilliant ideas, you must make sure that their cassava, their bananas, their very nice, sweet, you know, pumpkins from the gardens, and the watermelons from Nebi, you must ensure that they can reach the urban areas, say Gulu, Arua, or Kampala, where the prices are better. But they cannot. Why? Because the roads are so terrible. And you saw the bishop, the former archbishop, praying about the roads and saying that, you know, we are a humble people, but please do your part. Now, the whole of this, all of this is happening because NRM that has been in power these years is not implementing the beautiful policies that it proposes. So period, just implement the few that you have proposed and we shall be home and dry. Development, transformation, wealth creation. You will not have other questions to be asked. So for me, I think that is what we need. I honestly, looking at policies, I don't think we need many new policies. Okay. Let's first implement the old ones. You can, the point of last year when we were, was it early this year? Last year in December, when we were looking at the manifesto review and looking at how far it has been implemented. You know now the NRM ties its manifesto to the National Development Plan. We're talking about National Development Plan 4 now. But National Development Plan 3 did not even reach 50% of implementation. So just pick it, pick National Development Plan 3, implement it. We shall be home and dry.
Okay, so in the next 5 minutes we shall be home and dry because we shall be at the end of the program. And so we have 1.5 or so minutes for each one of you to make your concluding remarks. So going forward, Rugyendo, we are not implementing, we are corrupt. So 1.5 minutes still we. Do we see any? Should we have any hope?
Yeah, of course. We see at the end of the day, someone has to do their job, and the agitation has to keep pace, because I have a feeling somewhere that the state realizes that they cannot take citizens for granted all the time. because citizens have been agitating. I like actually the fact that this election is highly digitized and citizens are asking questions and freely of the various digital media platforms. So I know and indeed that the state, in whatever form it emerges out of this election, has got to understand the urgent pain points of the people, especially the young people, who really dominate the demographics. And so that if the seriousness is not exhibited in the manner that the citizens want to see, I feel that I even envisage a situation in the next 5 years, by the way, a situation where different forces are going to start formating in different ways, and these forces and these formations will be asking the questions, really pertinent questions, and pushing government to get things done. Because if you can't get things done, then it becomes difficult for you to justify certain situations, especially by 2031, and that's what I envisage for me. And I still want to see it emerge out of this election as we move forward. I know we haven't really gone deep. We are trying to see what happens. Nominations for MPs are coming up, and so that means the election is going to be to get more thick, to get more dramatic. But outside of all this orbit, there is a different orbit, which is the virtual space, where most Ugandans are discussing, where most Ugandans are really articulating real issues, and sometimes even without even government knowledge. And this is the force that is going to overwhelm the state. It will overwhelm the state in a sense of running their own affairs in a different fashion, where even the state certainly sometimes gets surprised, because this is where most Ugandans are going. This is where the discussion is happening, and there's no bridge that is taking place. But I feel maybe there's going to be a lot of lessons out of this election for the state to become more proactive. He might tell you that...
and I want to go to him.
Yes, he might tell you that the NRM is trying to be more proactive in this election, working closely with the people, working closely with its structures, no longer thinking bottom up, but from the bottom and going up, and making sure that every other stakeholder participates in creating solutions for the next 5 years. And that, I think, is a very good approach if really they become very serious about it. I don't want to see an NRM which just comes at election time and promises heaven on earth and then eventually abandons the ship and starts doing their own things. So they will be overwhelmed. And it has happened, especially just across the border here. It has happened to Kanu, it has happened to different liberation movements. Even CCM almost got problems. ANC right now cannot command a majority anymore, yet they have majority rule in South Africa. But they cannot command a majority in their own parliament, their own senate, whatever they want to call it. If the NRM is going to learn from all this.
This man has eaten all the minutes.
No problem.
But it is important to note that we are looking at the calmness of elections now, of the campaigns, but you are listening to one tune of the drum. From the 23rd, we shall have another mix coming in.
After the MPs are...
Yes, after the MPs have come in. And perhaps the very same MPs may not behave the same way that the presidents are behaving. And possibly they may change the tempo and the steps of the dance. So we need to be a little bit more careful, particularly on that. Number two, we have had issues, particularly to do with the people who are campaigning, not necessarily the presidents, but the others who campaign along with them, not putting their attention and the emphasis on the message. For them, those who are campaigning, a number of them are the oh yeah, oh yeah. so that you are seen. We wouldn't encourage people to simply go to campaign to be seen. And it is in all ways, whether it is on the front of our brother Chagulanyi, it's the front of our senior brother General Monto, or it is a number of them, by the way, go to campaign to be seen. And I would like to encourage that. I would like somebody to go to campaign to deliver a message. Be seen delivering a message, and be seen explaining to the people, and have that consistency to make sure that the message you deliver is the correct and accurate message. Not to go there and tell people that this is what it is or this is what it is not. And we have also seen a number of our people in Parliament failing to return with the flag. The only fortunate thing is that they are replaced by the same other people from the party. And therefore the party may not lose so much, apart from where there may be some bit of independence coming in the middle. If they don't come back to fight against those who want them, if they want them genuinely, then perhaps we could reduce the number of independents, and we should get the people in the Parliament who are there genuinely to earn and also deliver the services to the people. And lastly, the President has always explained, why do people come to Parliament and fail to get back to the communities to explain? And when they get back to them at last, they say, you have eaten, go and have eaten enough, go away and get back. So I would like to encourage those who are even, not only in the Parliament, but other positions, whether councillor, whether chairman or LC3, you should be there to deliver the message to the people and be consistent with the manifesto of the party which you are serving, so that if there is anything to be served, you serve it right. If there is anything not to be served, you have an explanation why it is not served. That's why people will believe in you and subsequently vote you.
Charles, finally, for our viewers to believe in us, we have to get out of studio at the appointed time. In 1 minute, what are your concluding remarks?
I am praying, and I wish that every Ugandan should pray that we have free, peaceful, fair elections. There will be challenges, and we have to know, as Ugandans, we don't have to, I think we need to be realistic. An election is like any other normal life moment. It has challenges, it has hills, it has valleys. There are personal interests, there are, investments people put in it, there are emotions, there are sentiments. People should not think that an election will be completely free of, the hard knocks. They will be there, but let them be minimal, let them be understandable, let them be manageable. And for me, I'm praying for a peaceful election, calm election. The calm should be up to the end when we vote. Because at the end of it all, I played football when I was young. The best way I approach competition, contest in politics is like in football. You go there to either win or lose. And then you wait for another time. So I think the do or die is what we should pray should not be there. Thank you.
It's better you win or they lose.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. In North Court, we used to say they either lose or we win.
Yes.
That's it, Charles Odongtho, James Tweheyo, Arinaitwe Rugyendo. Thank you so much for being part of the Ballot 2026 program on Family TV. It's a Church of Uganda TV. My name is Baguma Richard. My producers, the people in the technical group, and of course you, the viewers who have stayed with us, and those who made comments. Thank you so much for following. We can continue this discussion on YouTube and all the other platforms. Thank you so much. Have a good night. And please, make it your civic and national duty and personal responsibility to prepare and cast your vote and choose the one you want. Have a good night.
I like